But yay, we made it to the end credits of Robotrek. So, let's watch the credits roll. Me, the robot, and the two gnomes. So, first thing I would like to say, the cinematics that play here during the credits, for the most part, I like to consider them as a cast and crew thing, to kind of like help us revisit the game and the places we've been, the people we've met. So, anything you see here, people who should have died, or places that should be blown up or something, that's basically why. It's just revisiting the game, so nothing to see here. Move along. So to help me conclude this game, I've decided to help rate the game with a new system I've developed, the Soleman S.T.A.R system. Basically, I'll be grading the game on 6 attributes. Each attribute will be given a rating of up to 5 stars, and in the end, I will be taking an overall rating of the entire game based on the scores of those 6 attributes. To start off, let's look at the plot of the game. For that, I'm giving it a 2 out of 5. Don't get me wrong, it's not a bad plot. As far as time travel plots go, it really is actually a pretty simple one. It's actually pretty okay. You can understand it. The problem, of course, is you actually have to understand it. Yeah, the game doesn't really do a good job, in my opinion, of describing the plot well. I mean, as a matter of an example, I actually had to explain this plot to a friend or two so that they would understand it. And likely where I had to explain it 2 videos ago, well, that's basically speaking for itself. The fact that the game doesn't really have a great ending, kind of contributes as well, in the sense that there really is no conclusion to the game. Like, we see what happens in a sense to, the main character, the father, and everyone else who was on the Maiden Iron. But, to another extent, everyone else just seems to suffer a case of Chuck Cunningham syndrome, in the sense that they just seem to get on a bus and disappear. I really don't know. I don't like the plot for that reason. It just really seems to ignore... It's just hard to really put together. For gameplay, I have to give it 3 out of 5 stars. The RPG system is pretty standard. It's pretty fun. I believe that they kept it simple for the purpose of preventing complexity that other RPGs before and after this game seem to have in the case, like, they'd have a lot of stuff to the game, like Final Fantasy game. How much of that are you actually gonna immediately understand or find out fairly quickly? Not a lot. So this game kept things pretty simple and I really did like that. The one thing I really wish the game did better about was, how it handled the, use of status ailments, because when it comes right down to it, aside from maybe a slight prevention as a result of some of your stats, there really is no way to prevent status ailments in this game. So, late game, when you have, like, every enemy knows Confuse, even the final boss, it just gets annoying when you're trying to just find your way around, trying to fight the battle and not lose control of your robot. So, to that extent, I have to say, gameplay lost a few points for that. Graphics, 3 out of 5. For an SNES game, this is actually pretty standard. Nothing terrible, nothing incredibly excellent. It's no Terranigma, let me put it to you like that. Terranigma, that pushed the boundaries of the SNES system. This game does not push the boundaries. But at the very least, it's not just running off defaults or anything like that. Music, I would have to say, 3 out of 5. Not a lot of the background music tracks are very memorable. Not to mention there's not a lot of tracks to begin with. I think in the entire game there's only like 8 background musics. Not a lot of variety. And as you may have noticed, they do reuse them fairly often. So, but the background music was still nice. They only had 3 tracks, yeah, but the background music was energetic, it was fun, it really was nice. I really enjoyed the final boss music especially. So, while the music overall was not exactly entirely memorable, it wasn't bad, so it gets a good score for that. Replay value, 4 out of 5 stars. The reason I'm giving it such a high score is because the game does a lot to go with customization and variability in any game you play with it. You have different combos for scraps, different ways to customize your robots, different ways to set your stats, so on and so on. I have not shown even a portion of all the ways you can customize your characters in this game. But where I do take a point off of the replay value is the fact that there really isn't anything else beyond the plot to actually see. Like, I mean, sure, you can change the way your robots are set up and everything, but in terms of, like, secrets or side quests, the game doesn't have has very little of either to really show, so there's nothing that a replay of the game will really help you discover, except maybe find out a few other drops that certain enemies might have that normally you wouldn't know of, or something like that. Fun factor, 3 out of 5 stars. Battles, they're pretty fun to start off, but by the end of the game, they become pretty frustrating, especially when they start really using certain status ailments, confuse, incredibly often. But what really gives a lot of points to this game for fun factor is where it uses a decent amount of slapstick. So while battles are often a little monotonous and sometimes even just frustrating, the game comes out of its way with a decent amount of humor to help lighten up the otherwise dark setting of the story. And to that extent, it helps live up to the Japanese title that the game originally had, which is Slapstick. I've mentioned that before, and I mean, putting it all together when you think about it, the humor is best seen in a lot of places. Like, for example, where the former villains of ours were running off with the chickens of the chicken farm guy. I don't know, I can't really say that's a major contribution to plot or anything. To one extent, I might even say that in some cases the slapstick humor may have even, in one point or another, may not have been preferred, but I don't know. Overall, it's still, they at least made an effort to make this game fun, and it is fun. So, overall for this game, I'm gonna give it an 18 out of 30 stars. That's in total. To, condense that to a simpler score, this game overall gets 3 out of 5 stars. And I would definitely recommend this game to anyone who is looking for a good RPG or the SNES console. Especially since this game actually thanks us for playing. Hooray! But yeah, it's a great game, I would definitely recommend it. It wouldn't be the first game I would recommend, but if you're looking for an RPG for the SNES, well, this is a good one to try out. So, this is basically it. This has been Let's Play Robotrek. I've really enjoyed doing this Let's Play, viewers, and I hope to see you all later. This is Soleman of the Stars, signing off. Have a good day. End.